Welcome back to the LCS Proving Grounds. We just finished up with TSM Academy versus Zeus Academy. Now we're ready to move on to CLG Academy versus 100 Thieves Academy.
We are, and we are going to be seeing a very different style coming out from these two teams. While we saw a little bit of 2v2 prowess coming out from TSM's bottom lane, this is a time where CLG have been finding a lot of their success through the bot historically, and now going up against 100 Thieves, it's going to be much more difficult for them to find those quickly, but we got to pay attention to the bracket. Once again, winners of these are going to be playing up against Evil Geniuses Academy, and the winner of that will play the winner of Cloud9 versus Zeus. So we got a large bracket, everybody. Remember, this is only the top half of the top bracket, so there are another 8 teams that we haven't even seen yet.
And with this matchup of CLGA versus 100 Thieves A, I am personally excited for it because I had a lot of investment into the 100 Thieves Academy roster during the regular season. But I also have a lot of investment into the storyline that CLG Academy was able to do. They were one of the squads that was kind of getting laughed at all the way up until Nerd Street's last competitive match. Here are your winners, CLG Academy, the final Academy team to qualify.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting position for both of these teams, right? 100 Thieves, they brought Luger in. They have Damonte coming down from LCS to play with them as well. And no disrespect to RJS, but Damonte has had a lot of opportunity to showcase what he has against some of the...
He hasn't been able to have similar performances since joining Academy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going to be able to take this roster, because Papa Smithy has done a fantastic job at taking these newer players, trying to develop them, and bring them to the forefront. Right now, we're still seeing a lot of roughness around the edges for 100 Thieves. They play quite well. They ended up getting third pretty much perennially in most of the tournaments that they played in recently. But the big thing to pay attention to is they make some good decisions, they make some good plays, but just as we saw with Sword earlier, they're double-edged. Sometimes they look really good, sometimes they don't.
Now, CLG Academy is a team that definitely prefers blue side. They tend to like to go after their ADC draft first. And the number one thing they go after is Kai'Sa. That's going to be the first thing they ban away to make sure 100 Thieves Academy don't get that. But yeah, it should be overall a very interesting draft to come out of the side of CLG Academy, because they're very, very predictable in the way they do their draft, but they're very good at executing around it regardless.
Yeah, and we'll see what they're able to do to shut them down relatively early on. The Gnar ban, Lilia ban, I mean, these bans, I like them a little bit better than the bans we were seeing from TSM earlier, but they're not necessarily the most obvious things in the world. Lilia is kind of this tier 1.5 jungler, right, behind Udyr, Hecarim, and kind of Volibear in a lot of ways. And both of them, all three of them, are actually still available to pick, and so you can kind of handshake. It's like, we will get the Hecarim, you may have the Udyr, or whichever way you want to do it. Just say, we will both have very strong junglers. But CLG, opting out of that, just say, hey, you can take the Udyr, maybe the Seraphine. You know, I'm not a fan of this champion, but it is very good.
But you keep bringing her up, Josh.
She's very good.
That is sus, man. As
very strong.
So strong. No more talking about Seraphine. We gotta focus. 100 Thieves Academy are gonna pick, which is not Seraphine. It's gonna be Udyr locked in, and yeah, very strong first pick. It gives you a lot of momentum, and it works well into Kidby's champion. No, not Seraphine. Flex that away, please.
I'm just saying, man. Like,
CLG Academy do play it too, so most likely this is gonna be a lock in, and yep, to my disdain, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, this champion is really good. It's really good against Udyr as well. It would surprise me, but the Seraphine is just so good at these front-to-back team fightings that both teams have been opting for. The Nocturne early on is surprising to me. I like the fact that it is very flexible. So far, CLG, we don't know where either of these champs are going to be playing. So I think these Academy, you have to show us a little bit more about what it is they're trying to do. They've got a very strong first pick, but how are they going to play around it? Because they have lots of options.
Hey, Joshi, you remember Frosty Nomad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same exact player, Kill. The reason he keeps bringing up the Nunu is because it was like his most infamous champion, so he always flexes that randomly. It's kind of the same thing you see with Strumpus randomly flexing the Rise.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. 100 Thieves,
now we got
happy to
Jojo Kid, who's like, oh, let me just play Rise. Doesn't matter, I'm just going to play it. All right. So we're already seeing some pretty different styles and thoughts coming through. One of the things that Seraphine does that is really good with compositions like this is Nocturne will dive in and extend the range of the ultimate that Seraphine is going to be throwing out, which means that she can actually support dive compositions reasonably well, provided she is not herself getting dove upon. And now, with a very strong backline coming out from CLG Academy, I'm a bit surprised to see the Nocturne involved in this as well, because he dives, he doesn't really protect, but he will provide a lot of threat so that whoever ends up piloting this Seraphine will be relatively safe, because there won't be options or champions left to try and dive into the backline. So 100 Thieves, gotta make sure they get some burst so that Jinx can get that first kill, get excited, and start carrying these fights.
And I think it's very realistic that 100 Thieves can find those first kills right now, because what CLG Academy's comp says to me is we provide a lot of damage, but we don't have a lot of health. They can get taken down quite quickly if they're not careful. And it makes it feel like CLG Academy have to be the one to do the engaging to be able to find teamfight success.
So we'll see what they can do with that. Riven getting banned out from Tien, kind of one of his strong champions that is kind of unique to him. Having these pocket picks, very valuable in the draft. But I do agree, CLG is going to be in an interesting position. They need more dive buddies for whoever plays this Nocturne. They need to have more access to the Jinx, because if you only send Nocturne and Nocturne dies, you just give Jinx her passive for free. The set, I don't know how I feel about that. Processing.
One of the more funny things to me, especially when you're like solo queue or something, is when you hear the Nocturne ult and you just see Nocturne has been slain. It's like moderately depressing, to be honest.
Okay, alright. I like this Volibear hover coming in from CLG quite a bit. You know, it has a lot of opportunities to flex around into the jungle or the top lane, and the Nocturne also mid-top jungle, Seraphine mid-support, right? It's very flexible throughout. This Camille would surprise me. It provides some diving tools for 100 Thieves Academy, but that doesn't seem to be what they're really looking to do. Tenacity, I typically think of as more of a tanky player, you know, things like Ornn in particular. But they can do it. Gangplank potentially can be the answer instead.
I want to see if they lock that in, because that's a lot of scaling potential, and honestly, Gangplank gets complemented quite well with the Udyr, but instead, just going to go for the Orianna, play it safe with more control mage.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, like...
Just juking it out.
Juking me too a little bit there. Both these compositions are just kind of standard in a lot of ways, right? Like, they both just play League of Legends in general ways that are very flexible. You can do a lot of different things with them. The most polarizing champion here is definitely going to be the Nocturne, because Nocturne doesn't do anything besides dive in to the backline. And so that means that CLG are kind of forced to take some of these fights, but they have tools to do it, right? Volibear can try and follow to be part of some of these big fights, and you know, this hover of Camille I actually really like coming in from Tien. The Akali, I think he's better at the Akali, but I don't know if it fits as well into the composition.
This feels like we just want to fight. Plain and simple. They set up a tower dive with Kill, and everyone else just dives and does damage. That being said, there's not much of a front line behind just having Volibear. It is a very volatile composition coming out of CLGA.
Yeah, I mean, I've been calling these threat overload compositions from what CLG is looking to do, because they don't have any true tanks, right? Like, you have Volibear, who's like a good secondary tank, but not necessarily a great primary tank, and both the Akali and the Nocturne, big damage dealers. They're looking to get into the back line. They're trying to kill people, and if they can make the fight chaotic and turn into like 5 different 1v1s, they're very happy to do this. They have 5 big champions that are going to be able to do a lot of damage throughout the entire thing, whereas they just really need to kill 1 or 2 of Aatrox, Orianna, and Jinx, and if they can do that, they just have too much damage left over after the fight has broken out. So CLG looking, like, I say this endearingly as a solo queue composition, right? They are looking to just create chaos and make individual outplays. 100 Thieves just need to be able to draw battle lines, and they should be able to win from that position.
Yeah, what you were saying about just getting 1 kill kind of flips on the other side as well. 100 Thieves Academy, if they are able to get 1, that's what Jinx loves. Get a kill, get excited, start bringing in the DPS, and there's a lot of tools that really help out with that. Of course, with the Aatrox, you get that sustained DPS, but you can also sustain yourself with that World Ender. Udyr is so disruptive. Shockwave can be chaotic in a teamfight, and the box can work as a great zooting tool to keep Jinx alive. So I'm liking Luger's spot in this, especially considering just how small these health bars are going to be for CLGA.
Yeah, that's very true. I've said it a couple times. Jinx is the best AD carry if you get her passive. If you don't, she's, still a good AD carry, but not necessarily the best AD carry. And this is going to be an interesting spot. Now, Tian opting to go with the Ignite. Notably, Akalia lost some of the upfront damage, especially on her E. It was transferred to the second cast, so when you actually dash back in after landing the Shuriken, you will be doing more damage overall, but you're more committed to actually going for these fights.
So now we're hitting the Rift. 100 Thieves Academy, CLG Academy. 100 Thieves notoriously the third place squad since 2021 has began. CLG having the rough road to get here, but boy have they scrapped. Now they're both meeting on the Rift right now. Only one can continue to proceed. Another one's got to head over to losers bracket. We're going to find out in just a couple of games.
Yeah. Worth noting on how CLG actually got here, they had to play through all Tier 1 qualifying tournaments. The Unified Grand Prix, the Giant Slayer Spring Gauntlet, and the Nerd Street Power Play Last Chance Qualifier. They got 5th in both UGP and Giant Slayer, which put them one spot away from actually qualifying. And they ended up beating Barrage in their last series in order to get here, where they won the Nerd Street Last Chance Qualifier. So, they're one of the Academy teams that barely squeaked by into getting into this tournament, and we'll see how well they're able to perform up against 100 Thieves, who have looked very good throughout the regular season, even if they haven't necessarily been making all the right decisions right off the bat. But RJS, Nocturne is not a great laner, right? I've said this before. His lane is okay. He just walks forward, he wave clears the wave, tries to get priority, and has sustain built into his kit. But it's very hard for Nocturne to actually win a lot of these fights, as we see the play coming out from CLG, or excuse me, from 100 Thieves, barely not able to find the crowd control necessary to find a kill.
Yeah, if that play was a little bit closer, you get a lot more harassment on that level too. Not gonna get it though. And, it's talking about these teams. 100 Thieves Academy, you can't forget there was the Arena of Legends that went through. And they were able to get some pretty notable wins, pretty devastating wins, I should say, against Golden Guardians as well as Dignitas. But they had a hard time against FlyQuest, and they got outright stomped by Team Liquid. So right now, one of my worries is, are they in a bad mental state? Because those two last games were pretty brutal to go through. They are strong individual players, but they got to come together for this tournament.
And now, we're kind of getting a slower early game. And this is going to be really big, because CLG, right, they have tools that are going to be really good in the late game, but Keel finding Kenvi down a level.
Yeah, and here comes the fight. Still getting a lot of damage in. The autos for days doing work on to kill, and that will be first blood going over to Kenvi.
Well, Volibear is down a level. I don't know what more you want me to say. He just doesn't have the stats necessary to take this fight. People moving from 100 Thieves faster, and Kill dies. He's been one of the bright spots for this team. Now, you were talking about the Nunu that he likes to play quite a bit, but this is a spot where the faster clearing coming out from Kenvi, the fact that he was able to be level 4 for that fight before Keel could full clear his jungle and show up, just is a huge difference when you're just playing these kind of champions that just beat each other with their fists, and Kenvi just does that better at this point in the game. So, early lead for 100 Thieves is big. You want to be able to kind of push over the fact that Seraphine scales very well into the mid and later parts of the game. Akali is stronger later than she used to be, and Nocturne, is kind of just moving around, strong in the mid game, but falls off really hard later than he does.
Now Keel's starting to make his way into the enemy jungle. They do have an idea of where Kenvi is over on the side of CLG. So I saw them ping it out earlier, so now it's just about rotation for Keel. Really try and punish exactly where Kenvi could be and take away a lot of those resources, try and get himself back ahead after that devastating first blood.
Yeah, but they also spot him here as he walks on out, and I believe they'll spot him trying to do this dragon as well if he comes in. I've heard that you can try and sneak this if you go right around the corner, but I think Volibear's model might actually be too big for that. So we'll see. Yeah, you see Udyr already pinging towards it. They know he's doing it, and Damonte forcing RJS backwards in this position as all of 100 Thieves are starting to coalesce.
About 2.1k left on that dragon. Kenvi is here. The rest of 100 Thieves are starting to show up as well. And Kenvi just wants to take it over. Says, thanks for the leash. This belongs to me now. First rate goes over to 100 Thieves.
This is not good for CLG. Keel is so far behind at this point. He is at 27 to 44 CS. Right? He is down, what is that? He's down 4 camps. It's not even 6 minutes yet, and now Hooks gets hooked.
Ooh, the hook goes in, and it is beautiful with the combo. Being able to use those traps, forcing the flash out of Hooks.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, CLG is just picking a composition that is so weak early. Keel, you can't even go for this fight. They know you're here.
Still peeking around, though. He wants something. Keel's very, very active when it comes to his jungling, but Kenvi is definitely on top of it.
Yeah, wow, this is looking very clean, very composed from the side of 100 Thieves. They are winning just about everywhere on the map. The only place where it's not a clear win is Tenacity, and he's got to be careful of a potential dive.
Setting it up here, Tenacity is getting lower and lower.
I just have ult.
So at the end, instead, going to back off, not going to go for the dive just yet. Does look like they're posturing around the bot lane, though. Luger just wanting to clear out the wards for the time being. Take that blast plant back to lane.
Yeah, Eric, I'm going to be straight up. I'm very, very worried for CLG's chances in this game because Kenvi is so far ahead and he sees Tien. Are they going to go for a dive? They know there's no flash. They know there's no ult coming in for this Akali, but that doesn't feel like they're comfortable to do that. Instead, they're just going to be taking away yet another camp away from Keel as the Krugs go over, and look at the fact that all of Kenvi's jungle is coming back up, but there is so long before any of Keel's camps respawn. This is going to be another huge farming advantage coming in from Kenvi.
And Kenvi's not done!
Oh my god. Brutal.
Kenvi is not done. He's just going back into the jungle. He wants to claim more. Control Ward did go out for a kill, but you're spotting nothing. Kenvi's already in your face, but now Kill is feeling a little bit more brave as the end comes down for the top lane. Teleport coming through. Teleport's gonna be dedicated, waiting for the paranoia. Here it comes. Bear stance, waiting for the retaliation. It will not go through. Instead, it's a teleport, it's a paranoia, it's so much burnt, but the bear just walks on out.
Tenacity. There's a bear here.
Oh, he was fine, but he walked into the wrong side of the woods. Will get caught out. There is no picnic basket here. There is only a kill left for a kill, but Tenacity will instead feed it right over to RJS, who gets the autos in. Almost falls his kill, but RJS will get the kill.
Wow, this is much less controlled. Remember what I said about these teams being chaotic? Right? Like, people just running around the map. We still see a 20 CS advantage for Kenvi as he's continuing to clear out the jungle. But RJS, I mean, his first ult, successful, but he's got to back away immediately after doing so, right? Like, he doesn't actually get enough health or mana off of his back in order to be relevant in this position, and small leads, you know, kind of coming out for most of the members of 100 Thieves so far, and notably this bear is just not going to be relevant later in the game. He's so poor.
Which bear?
The real bear.
Yeah, bear versus bear stance, but yeah, I see exactly what you mean. Looking at the CS, 20 CS lead coming out of Kenvi. Yeah, Kill's bankrupt right now.
Yeah. It doesn't look like a whole lot yet, right? The items haven't really come through for Kenvi. He's still spending a lot of money as we get to see another replay of this kill up in the top lane. And Tien, you know, takes a little bit longer to get this kill, but Tenacity, right, like Tenacity, we say he makes a lot of really good plays. Sometimes he looks really good. He almost kills Keel here, but doesn't quite, right? And that's the big difference. Is like, when you actually get that kill, looks really good. When you don't, you kind of struggle pretty heavily. And this is that latter situation. However, still beating up on the Akali pretty effectively, does have a 10 CS lead himself, and is going to be getting the priority to help Kenvi out in the jungle, pick up the Rift Herald, and hopefully open up one of these lanes for these solo laners to start moving around and continue pushing into Keel. Pick it up!
Hey, wait.
Keel!
Wait.
Keel!
Keel!
Kenvi!
Kenvi.
Okay, okay.
Man, you said kill, I said kill too. There we go.
Okay. Scaring me.
Yeah, this is only going to bring more pressure in, and I mean, come on, 100 Thieves want to play a fast game. Shelly's a good way to bring it. You get in that golden flux as she charges into those towers with the plates. We'll see what lane he's going to put it down in and try and give that gold lead to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts moving towards the mid lane and uses it to open up the mid lane, make Nocturne very sad in this long lane later on and also create some pressure for this upcoming Dragon. We got Dragon 2 spawning here right now. Kenvi's in position. They're stronger across the map. They should be able to pick this up if they do want to go for it. They're already moving around, and we'll see what kind of response CLG wants to go for, because Hooks is only level 5.
Oh, and here comes the bullet time. Lots of damage on the Luger. It's not going to burn his flash, though. He does feel confident staying in that area, but that's a tool that's not going to be available for a team fight if CLGA wanted to take this around Drake. So, advantage going over to 100 Thieves.
I'm surprised that this is enough to convince 100 Thieves to walk away. Right? They still have lots of members around. They have Tenacity who can move down to be part of this fight. But instead, they're just going to take a little bit more time. They make sure to get all their ducks in a row, let Luger heal up a little bit, let those potions do their work, and now they finally come back, and you know, they end up getting the second Dragon. They are well on their way towards marching towards either a Cloud or Infernal Soul, and the gods say it's going to be an Infernal game this game.
Infernal game makes it a fun game. I just like there being less terrain, more ways to get into the fight. Kind of saw that with what was going on with Zeus and TSMA earlier. Always brings more excitement to me, Joshi. Always does.
Always does. You know, you just gotta be happy about the fire, right?
And be happy that you're an Udyr in an Infernal map as well.
True. Just running around, right? You don't have ways to get over the walls like a lot of other junglers do.
The way is just to run.
Run, run. Okay, they're down here. Kenvi's here.
Kenvi is here, but not much else will be found. The root was put onto Luger. No damage to go through. It's just going to be a lot of pressure putting down Shelly. And look to get the charge. Get a lot of gold coming down towards the bot lane of the 100 Thieves.
Damonte is chilling around. Keel will spot him out, but he's forced away.
Ooh, the charm does go through, but the Lantern grabbed just in time, so not going to be able to get that kill on the Luger.
Yeah. This is, you know, after some of the early chaos that we were seeing coming out from 100 Thieves and CLG, we've calmed down quite a bit. Right, but it is still an advantage consistently going in favor of 100 Thieves. They have a small lead in the top lane. They have a decent-sized lead in the mid lane. And, of course, the jungle difference has stayed where it was for a long time, right? It's still about 5-ish camps in favor of Kenvi. He's not necessarily been able to expand that further. And I'm curious to see how they're going to be playing around this, because Kenvi will still be hitting these item spikes about a minute or two faster than his jungle opponent, and they should be stronger, especially around a lot of these major objectives, just because Udyr is going to be a better tank early on than Keel will.
Speaking of those objectives, it's going to be another 3 minutes before that Infernal spawn, so a lot of time on this map for CLG to try and get some positioning, to try and get some priority, but with how quickly they've been giving up a lot of this, it does have a lot of worries for them. I haven't been liking the way they've been utilizing their resources as of lately. They're not really setting up for anything, not really getting kills anywhere. It's a rough spot. You're still waiting for RJS to be able to do something big to get CLGA into this game.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of Nocturne. I think he's a really cool champion. I enjoy playing him. I don't understand why he's seeing play.
Hook goes out, tower's getting low, tower's no longer there. Teleport's going to be used. Katsuri will instead choose to go back in. The Nocturne ult is popped, but it's going to be towards the mid lane. Fight breaking out in the mid lane, as you can see in the picture-in-picture, trying to take down Damonte, but he will be able to stay alive.
I don't understand why Nocturne's seeing play. He's not a good laner. He's not a good jungler. You have to get like 2 ultimates off, and unlike similar characters like Twisted Fate has a fallback pattern as being a stun bomb. What does Nocturne do if you don't get some of these ganks to go off successfully? You jump in and die as Kenvi steals another camp away.
That looks so good. Just walked up, one punch, smite, Lantern away. He's trying to deny everything from Keel, making sure he can't even pay his mortgage. This guy's gonna go homeless.
We'll see if he's able to do much. Like, doesn't even have his item completed, well behind Kenvi at this point. And across the map, like, we've calmed down pretty heavily, as we said, but it's still nearly 3,000 gold advantage in favor of 100 Thieves. Like, they don't need to be making a whole lot of plays. It is up to CLG. CLG are the ones who need to be looking for these advantages. They're the ones who need to be trying to get these fights started, and they probably think that they're better later, and I agree. They will be better later, But then why do you have Volibear and Nocturne on your team? Like, why did you pick these champions if you are going to be playing for the later stages of the game?
We'll have to see. Maybe there's something up the pocket, up the sleeve. Gotta give this a little time, but as it is right now, you know, it's looking slightly grim.
Yeah.
Hunter Thieves are just gathering more gold over the course of this game, about 3k separating these squads now. As Hunter Thieves, they start to set their sights towards Shelly and clear out the scuttle, get some vision over there, and CLG, they gotta play their cards very carefully around Hunter Thieves.
Now remember, Nocturne does prevent teleports from going off when he's using the ult. Tenacity will not be able to join if RJS chooses to use this Nocturne ult in order to start a fight on the opposite side of the map. And now, he's saving it. You don't need to use those buttons unless you have a high opportunity to do so. And with this Dragon spawning, we're finally seeing CLG come together. This will be Dragon 3 going over to 100 Thieves. On this blessed day, we are all Jin. We are trying to count to 4. That is the perfect number of dragons. But they're just going to... This is gone! Eric! You're not doing anything!
Easy. The box used just to ensure that it will go over towards 100 Thieves, but now CLG are looking to take the fight. Here comes the ultimates, here comes the engagements. The end goes in, gets very, very low. CLG Hooks will be able to find movement, but there is the bullet time going a lot of work, but it's not going to be enough. Luger is cleaning house, and so is Tenacity, swinging away at Katsuri. Out of nowhere, CLG opted into this fight, and they get aced out of it.
I hate this. Like... CLG aren't doing anything. And the one time they try and do something, it's not a smart play. You're going into a choke against Jinx. Jinx gets to free hit across everybody in this team, right? He has to use his flash, but at this point, there is no threat onto the Jinx. Beautiful Cleanse just means that the rockets are doing damage across everybody, right? Like, what do we say? You're threat overload. You're trying to create chaotic fights. That is not fighting in a choke. That is not fighting when you're lining up. Like, CLG are doing nothing. And the things that they are doing aren't working. Like, go next. This is awful.
Hey, that was a good bullet time. That was a good bullet time.
All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. That was a good bullet time from Katsuri.
Yeah, just sadly not enough. Not going to get too much out of that. Couldn't even get an assist, couldn't even get a kill. The health bars did get low for 100 Thieves, but they knew what they were playing, and they were able to work with those low health bars to finish off the rest of CLGA.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Why are you playing Nocturne? What does it do? Right? You try and get an early lead, and if you don't, like, at this point, Nocturne has already fallen off. It is 18 minutes in the game. What other meta champion falls off at 18 minutes if they don't get a lead?
Wait, what's going on in the jungle right now?
I don't know. What is going on in the jungle? Keel?
No, it was just RJS and Kenvi were duking it out for a second. RJS able to scare Kenvi out of his jungle, but the siege tension is going towards the mid lane. Meanwhile, on the top side, able to find a tower will be 100 Thieves.
I don't know, man. I'm just, like, on the one hand, 100 Thieves are winning because they're playing cohesively. On the other hand, it's just like CLG is just like rolling over and dying, right? Oh, okay. They find something.
Going for RJS onto the back line. Gets rooted. Has to flash out, though. Bullet time goes out. There's a lot of damage coming through. Can they finish off these kills, though? Finding it is going to be the end. He's going for the back line, and the kills are lining up. But here comes Kenvi. Here comes Tenacity. Tenacity can take a lot. He can deal a lot as well. Kill Katsuri Thien on the retreat for now. Make it rain to find the slow. Some more damage onto Kenvi. Thien is caught out. Tenacity's running in, trying to swing his blade the way of Thien, but can't get there in time. Now CLG are looking to turn this one around, but Tenacity is still swinging as he's able to take down Katsuri. Finally falls at the hands of Thien, but that was a scrappy fight right there, and CLG, they're able to find their way into it. It was very close, it was sloppy, but it's a win.
They did something! Nocturne did something! Right? They found somebody moving around. This is the thing. Like 100 Thieves, they've been playing mostly cleanly, but Nocturne can punish people when they're out of position. Right? They get the vision onto the fact that Jinx has nobody to guard them. and they're like, all right, guys, we need to do this. And look how close, look how small of a difference this fight could have been. RGS takes 2 more attacks, 2 more spells, dies, Jinx gets excited, and this is actually a cleanup fight for 100 Thieves. And that's how dangerous this goes. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with Kenvi and Tenacity, right? They've been making mostly good decisions. They're able to play this out, but at some point, right, you have to recognize that you are trading 1 for 1 in this position, right? At best, like, Tenacity has to flash forward in order to try and get this kill onto Katsuri. But this is kind of one of those things where it's like, this is a situation where you're not necessarily getting a lot by picking up this extra kill onto Katsuri. Maybe you get his flash, at best. But the big thing is, even with that big hero play at CLG, where they did something for their first time in this game, they are still down 5,000 gold. They are still down 3 dragons to 0 against a scaling team. They are now here first, but Luger has his cleanse. His flash is coming up fairly soon. I guess it's about 20 seconds left. So how do they get onto Luger in this next fight? And do they even need to? Because he might just be gone. The down court.
Oh, Katsuri couldn't get the bullet time angle. That is an ultimate wasted. Now 100 Thieves, they get priority on this Drake, and they're going to claim it quite easily. Keep in mind, Joshi, this is Dragon Soul.
Ah! This is what are they doing? They miss 2 ultimates. Kill gets caught, has to ult out, and it's trying to like save it from Katsuri and Hook, but they don't land the Encore. They get basically no damage with the bullet time. They give over Infernal Soul at 22 minutes. Like, I don't know. I gotta see some hero plays, because CLG, like, they've barely squeaked into this event, right? They took 2 of the qualifiers in order to get here, or 3 qualifiers, and now they gotta find some hero play. Damonte is zoning off so many members.
Ooh, Shockwave lands onto the backline. You're gonna find Katsuri. He will get slain by Damonte. Now the fight going to continue as 100 Thieves keep trying to bring a kills, going straight after Kenvi, but Kenvi able to flap his way out of there with that Phoenix dance, but kill starting to get low now as Tenacity showing exactly what he's made of. Another kill going off. RJS will fall, but Tenacity still swinging onto Thien. He's a beast right now. There's nothing that could stop him. This is the raid boss right now, and you didn't study your mechanics. 100 Thieves, they're going straight for the Baron. Off of the defense, off of the bodyguard that is Tenacity.
Yeah, and we're seeing why, like, these comps that come out that are playing for this chaos, that play for this solo queue, that play for this later game but aren't coordinated, they don't have coordinated power spikes, why they struggle in competitive play, right? The people who are strong right now, supposed to be like Seraphine and Misfortune. They want coordinated fights. But the rest of your team wants these chaotic fights, and this is a pretty chaotic fight, right? Watch where Luger is during this whole thing. He's running away from RJS. Watch where the rest of his team is. Nowhere near him. He just has to flash over this wall, and once he gets away, once this fight has devolved into 2 or 3, like 1v1s and 1v3s off on the sides, this is supposed to be when CLG's comp is trying to shine. But they're so far behind, they never had an opportunity where they were really large, and the game is effectively over from this position. In fact, it's been over for about at least 5 minutes.
Now the siege onto the bot lane, looking to lock up Kill. Kill force use the ultimate to be able to get away. Look at Damonte on the sidelines, however, looking to get that Shockwave, trying to find that ball positioning, but priority is going over to 100 Thieves. Tower goes down, RGS able to get that outer in the top lane, but 100 Thieves have their sights set on this bot lane inner.
Yeah, and I actually played a tournament game recently that looked very similar to this, right? We had 5 people in the bottom lane with the Baron buff. We had a much stronger position, and our opposing, it was a top laner, they were playing Viego, was off in the bottom lane, and this is where you call his bluff, right? You don't push faster as solo Nocturne than my team with a Jinx on it. You don't get more than we do, and after we take these inhibitors, we dive your team and end the game, so that he's forced to come back. Like, this is CLG saying, we have nothing else. We just have to try and hope that 100 Thieves makes a mistake. They get 2 turrets, but they lose an inhibitor, and the game so close to ending that this is actually like their best chance.
100 Thieves on the siege. They're just looking to close this one out. They're waiting for that final nail in the coffin as another inhibitor is exposed.
Okay.
Another inhibitor may go down. Another bullet time wasted. Kitsuri's just not looking that hot on this champion. It's been whiffed ult after whiffed ult.
Hey, he did have that one good one.
He had that one good one. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. I don't know. I've said it before. I'm frustrated. This is not a good look from CLG. And really it comes down to, one, their comp makes no sense. Two, they didn't protect their Volibear early in the game, and Kenvi got really big. And after that, they just didn't do anything, because their comp isn't strong at the same time. They aren't able to do a lot, because they don't actually have a strong front line in Keel, who's a secondary tank and not a good primary tank anyway. So this is just a situation where I am struggling to find what CLG did right in this game. And they really need to, like, just as Alorum said, you know, this game never happened. It is 0-0. We are playing a best of one, and we're coming in with a new strategy. Because if you let this game get to you, the next game also won't be close.
So looking for a clinical ending will be 100 Thieves. Here comes the knock ult, though. Paranoia is being popped. It's going straight for Tenacity, and RJS is the one that's running away now.
Nocturne has almost been slain.
Oh, man. You're the one that's supposed to be the boogeyman. You're supposed to do the fearing, but the World Ender is just too terrifying. Now, 100 Thieves, they're setting their sights towards the top side, towards the mid lane, leading in those super minions, punishing the daylights out of CLG Academy. Hook lands in. It's going to go on to Kill. Kill takes a lot of damage, but this tower is still here, and Luger has to back off to deal with it. Still getting some shots and chipping away, but the minions are now gone. RJS, don't get too close. Those rockets can find you time and time again with that range, but the siege will continue. The tower's still going to stand. CLG are stalling, but for how much longer?
That's a good question. Now, typically, I'm not a fan of teams going for the Elder Dragon. You do not actually want to flip this, right? You do not want to give your opponent a win condition. But what you can do, you can hit the Elder Dragon and say, you have to come to us. You have to leave the safety of your base in order to contest this Elder Dragon. The 100 Thieves will, ideally, they'll look to hit it, and they'll say, all right, are they coming? All right, they're not coming. All right, so we're just going to take it. Oh, they're coming? All right, we stop hitting it at about half HP, and then we just look to force the fight. So we'll see how well 100 Thieves is actually able to play off of that game plan, because they also don't need to do anything, right? They just by coming over here and threatening the Elder Dragon, oh, they just go in.
Desperation play coming out of CLG Academy. RJS has to back off immediately. Here comes the bullet time. Gets a lot of damage onto Tenacity, but Tenacity is chasing down the backline. Goes straight after Kitsuri and will slay him. Now the rest of CLG Academy have to work with the damage they have left, but is it going to be enough as the end is going to fall as well? Kill getting chipped away. Going golden is RJS, but he is not long for this world as well. Kenvi looking to hunt him down. Kill getting chased as well. 100 Thieves are cleaning up the rift. They're removing CLG from it. Shockwave coming out from Damonte, and that is the full ace. That is the game-winning play. A dominant display to come out of 100 Thieves Academy.
Yeah, well done to 100 Thieves. They punished the draft from CLG really well. Kenvi got so far ahead of Keel, but I don't expect they'll be able to do this again, right? This is the kind of thing where CLG buckles down and says, all right, we are going to have an opportunity to try and get a lot of these power picks earlier on. We're going to build a more cohesive team composition and actually bring a fight to 100 Thieves. Because I'll be honest, that was like night and day between watching two teams. Yeah. We said that earlier about like the TSM versus Zeus, whereas like these comps will either look really good or really bad, but the difference is like when TSM won, they had a composition that was easy to do, right? Like in the wise words of one of my good friends, why do you want to make yourself work so hard? You have the Seraphine, build a Seraphine composition.
Oh, but every single lane at the end of the day just faltered. There wasn't any real hope for CLG to come back into that. I've tried to find a spot where it's like, yeah, they could have played here, they could have done this, but it's hard-pressed to find one. It really is. They had fights that worked out kind of decently. You had decent bullet times earlier on, but when Tenacity just wanted to play a scrappy fight that kind of tore apart CLGA, you couldn't find a good team fight bullet time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's hard to find something good to say about CLG in that game. 100 Thieves looked fine, right? They did what they were supposed to. I don't know. Like, we got to see game 2 because it's just nothing, right? CLG, come out with a real game plan, or you're gonna lose and go to lower bracket. That's it.
Well, we gotta find out. Let's go check out that game 2, but first, a break. When we return, we'll get into that. We'll be right back with more LCS Proving Grounds.